Now let's see how we set up the front panel of the machine for MIG brazing. Again, ensure that the selector switch is set to the proper gun we're going to be using. And once again, even though it's probably correct, toggle the AE key into the program mode and ensure that you're in the proper program for the wire that you're using. Here we are, program 81 for CUSI, which is right. So again, toggle the AE key to get either into the thickness, wire speed, or amperage mode, whatever you want to use for your display. And next, we need to make sure we are in the proper process for the MIG brazing we're due. Some MIG brazing needs to be done in the pulse spray arc mode. Some MIG brazing needs to be done in regular synergic short circuit mode. What you're going to do is going to depend on what the OEM vehicle you are working on calls for in the service procedure. So be sure you look in the service procedure and use the proper transfer method for the joints and the parts of the vehicle you're working on. Typically, the thicker, ultra-high strength steel structural pieces require brazing to be done in the pulse spray arc mode. If we're doing thinner open butt joint welds on exterior panels, those are more easily done in the synergic short circuit mode. So we remember we do this with this key here. All the way to the left is our pulse spray arc mode. With the straight line in the MIG is our synergic MIG mode, which for lower amperage welds would be a short circuit mode. We also need to make sure we have the gas flow rate at the proper level for MIG brazing. MIG brazing, as with aluminum, requires a much higher gas flow rate than we're normally used to. We press the gas purge button and set it again. We're going to want to be in the 40 to 50 cubic feet per hour range again, possibly even a little higher than we were with aluminum. Press the gas purge button again to shut the gas off. Now we should be ready to do some MIG brazing. Proper brazing technique also uses much longer stick-out distances than we are used to using with steel welding. Stick-out distances need to be in the ½ inch to even maybe as much as 3/4 of an inch sometimes range. MIG brazing in open butt joint on thin exterior sheet metal is typically done using the short circuit mode. We need to put a tack at the top, the bottom, and in the middle to keep the joint from growing together as the heat of the MIG braze weld goes up it. And we need a root gap of 1 metal thickness between the two panels. What we're looking for is to get the braze wire to push through the joint and wrap around with capillary action to the back side so that when we're finished, it looks like we have a weld bead that was welded from the front side and the back side. This is important to ensure good adhesion of the joint after you have dressed it from the front side. We also have to push a MIG braze weld. They cannot be pulled, so ensure that you're always pushing your MIG brazing welds. Notice we did the open butt joint short circuit weld with a series of short overlapping stitches. That is the easiest and best technique to use on that joint style.